Hi, I'm Brian Trenchard-Smith, and this is Trailers from Hell. Among the many Hammer films to be critically reviled in its day was The Stranglers of Bombay. A succession of brandings, stomach slittings, hangings, eye gougings, hand loppings, and mass stranglings give it more of a sadistic undercurrent than any of Hammer's overt gothic horrors. And yet, as you can see from this London poster, it carried an A certificate. Kids could get in if accompanied by an adult, and I did. The British Board of Film Censors' records on the subject are curiously missing. They took some heat from the morality pundits for their decision, but we know they demanded many cuts, including shots of bit player Marie Devereaux watching torture and murder with heaving bosom and wet-lipped excitement suggesting sexual arousal. You can see this clip of her in the international trailer, but her reaction shots were all but eliminated from the British version of the film. The story was based on real events that took place in India in the 1820s. The word thug comes from the Hindi word thaga, meaning deceiver. Thugees were members of a century-old cult dedicated to robbery and murder by strangulation, the method authorized by their goddess Kali. They often murdered entire caravans of merchants and travelers. Historians believe Thugees killed 1 million people over a 5-century reign of terror. Only when the Thugees started to affect the profits of Britain's East India Company was the cult uncovered and destroyed. Stranglers was shot at Bray Studios and the Gerrards Cross sandpits, doubling for the Indian desert, on a budget of £100,000 sterling. Its production values are greater than this trailer would indicate.
This is Kali, the goddess of destruction.
There's Kali, a face only a mother could love.
She reigns supreme.
There's Hammer supporting cast regular George Pastel in his best performance as the cult leader. It's a prescient depiction of the power of religious fanaticism. The success of Hammer's Japanese POW shocker, The Camp on Blood Island, revealed a taste in British cinema audiences for foreigners behaving badly, particularly if they were of a different hue. The Thugee cult was ideal material for a follow-up. The script was by an American writer, rare for Hammer, David Zelig Goodman, who went on to write Straw Dogs for Sam Peckinpah and Logan's Run for MGM. It's well-researched with a subtext that is both anti-corporate and critical of ruling class incompetence. Coming up, a brief shot of Twin Peaks, the abundantly talented Miss Devereaux, sadly missing from the DVD. This international trailer is much more graphic than the British release trailers were allowed to be. They all had to obtain a U certificate, and I had my battles with the censor over Hammer trailers I made, and I always lost. The Cell focuses solely on the sensational and ghoulish aspects of the film. In fact, Terence Fisher, probably Hammer's best director, styles the film as Victorian melodrama, but depicts the horrors with a clinical detachment that adds realism. Murder by intruders in your sleep is a fear everyone can relate to. That is why the film was so disturbing in its day. One memorable sequence is where Guy Rolfe is staked out to be bitten by a cobra. There was a large sheet of glass between him and the snake. His pet mongoose attacks the cobra, courtesy of some stock footage from an Indian documentary, though the British censor cut the actual death of the snake. When Spielberg and Lucas were cooking up Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, they might have been influenced by the Stranglers of Bombay, in StrangloScope, no less.